Well, thank you. Well, celebrities taking to Twitter to bash President Trump's proposed budget cuts for the arts. Jamie Lee Curtis posting, "After all the wars are fought, what remains are people, art, nature, and culture. Trump can try, but he cannot cut us out of the picture." Josh Gad also tweeting this, "It seems insane to have to defend the arts, but here we are. The right to bear arts is what makes us great. Without science and arts, who are we?" And Judd Apatow saying this, "Without the arts in America, all we have is Trump." But do these rich celebrities have a right to be angry? Here to weigh in is Julie Gunlock, a senior fellow at the Independent Women's Forum and the director of Culture of Alarmism Project. Julie, nice to see you this morning. Do liberals have a right to be outraged about this, cutting the arts?
Look, everyone has a right to be outraged, but I have a right to say they're being absurd. It is insane that today the federal government is propping up a television channel. We have cable, there is Netflix, there's Roku, there's Amazon, streaming. People have a ton of choices in media, and so there's absolutely no reason for tax dollars to support a television station.
Their argument, though, is that those are paid services, right? We're paying, what, $9 a month for Netflix. There are children who grow up in certain communities who wouldn't have access to that. And having public broadcasting, being able to watch Big Bird, being able to watch Elmo, these kids the parents can't afford it.
Well, if you look at the census data of the 47 million Americans who live in poverty, 2/3 of them have cable or satellite dishes. So I don't think that we have this dearth of availability of these programs for even poorer communities. And look, there are a lot of community services that are free, where they can get public libraries, where they can rent things. So there are sources available even for people who live at and under the poverty line.
You know, politics about optics largely. Right. Why go after these programs? There's so much waste in the federal government. Do you think that the Trump administration went after enough other programs and accurately tried to cut those as well?
I agree with you. I would like to see more cuts. I think that these are largely symbolic cuts. I think he's really working his base here. Conservatives, Republicans, libertarians have wanted cuts to PBS, NPR, some of these other programs, right, for decades. So I definitely think that he's definitely trying to please his base with this. There definitely should be deeper cuts.
George W. Bush tried to do the same thing. Democrats also accusing the president of starving the poor after a proposed 3% cuts to the Meals on Wheels program. Take a listen to Mick Mulvaney on this Meals on Wheels program. Listen.
We can't do that anymore. We can't spend money on programs just because they sound good. And great, Meals on Wheels sounds great. Again, that's a state decision to fund that particular portion to it, to take the federal money and give it to the states and say, look, we want to give you money for programs that don't work. I can't defend that anymore. We cannot defend that anymore. We're $20 trillion in debt. We're going to spend money. We're going to spend a lot of money, but we're not going to spend it on programs that cannot show that they actually deliver the promises that we've made to people.
There you go. What do you make of that?
I think he was unprepared for that question. Look, the Trump administration has proposed cuts to community block grants, which do fund a tiny amount of that money goes to Meals on Wheels. But most of the federal funds for Meals on Wheels comes from the Older Americans Act. And the Trump administration has not proposed any cuts to the Older Americans Act. So it is actually a myth that Meals on Wheels is being cut. It's not true. Meals on Wheels even says this. They said, look, we have not heard of any cuts. So again, this is more hysteria from the left. This narrative fits in with this whole, Trump's a monster. He doesn't care about children or the elderly. So really the press ran with this headline yesterday when there's absolutely no truth to it.
Julie Gunlock, keeping us honest, taking a look at all of this. Julie, great to see you this morning.
Thanks for having me.
You bet.